and it is a human dignity as well. In this 78-year game of life that we have, to achieve by striving all kinds of happiness in life, in all walks of life, whichever field of work you choose, should be a human endeavor. But basically, before trying to understand the rules of happiness, some concepts in minds are to be cleared. Normally the concept of happiness is materialism. We gain something physical. We obtain something materialistic. And that is the basic concept in our mind that I am happy now. Somebody has rightly described the state of affairs of the 21st century man when it comes to materialistic possessions and direct linking of it to happiness. If I get these 5 things in life, a combination of these 5 things, that is absolute happiness in life. American salary, British house, German car, Audi, Merc, Rolls, Skoda, Chinese food. How much? American salary, British house, fine, nice, cozy houses, German car, Chinese food, and Indian wife. And the reverse of this is also true. For me, hell on earth, when it comes to materialistic possessions in life, if it happens to be a combination of these 5 things in life, it is hell on earth. All happiness stolen. Indian salary. They say Chinese house because sometimes in China people live in boat houses. They say German food. They say American car. How many? Indian salary. Chinese house, German food, American car, and a British wife. Because they say in Britain 3 things, 3 W's, they change anytime. Weather, wine, and wife. And that is why probably I find the reason that you go on Google and search for anything, the address starts with www. These are the common perceptions in life. We have based happiness of our own life, of our surroundings, absolutely on materialistic possessions of life. We have to very clearly differentiate between fun, joy, happiness, and bliss. The biggest problem of the 21st century youth is he is not very clearly defined. He is not very clearly, with discussion, with a clear thinking, come to the right kind of focus in life, what exactly this all words mean. I exemplify so that you come to know the difference between fun, joy, happiness, and bliss. For example, you wanted to drive a car at 150 kilometers per hour and you got a chance on the Mumbai-Pune Express Highway and you drove it at 150 kilometers per hour. The amount of time that you drive it and what you experience is fun. One step ahead is joy. You wanted to possess that car and you could possess that car. It remains with you for long years. That is called joy. You wanted to possess that car style, car type, and car level luxuries in all walks of life. And you possess it. It remains with you lifetime. It is happiness. And if probably for some reason you lose it, your car meets an accident, you incur business losses, you have to sell it. Whatever. But if that materialistic possession does not remain with you, You lose it, which was not your choice. You never wished it. But still, for some reason, if you lose it, but still if you can remain stable, that is called bliss. We have juggled these words in life. Some fun, and we say it's all happiness in life. Some joy, and you say it's all happiness in life. Very clear demarcations in your mind. Very clear definitions in your life about fun, joy, happiness, and bliss. We all want to achieve happiness. That means the experience that you are craving for, to remain happy, is never momentary. It is a lifelong experience with you ever. Then there are certain rules that you have to observe. It will not shower like rain from heaven. It is not occasional. It will not walk into your house. You will have to strive for it. And it is not a one-day affair. You have to strive for it. It is not a one-time project. You have to strive for it. It is not like working hard for a period and then relaxing. You have to strive for it. Once Pujya Swami Maharaj was in Ahmedabad. He used to give personal audience to about 500 people a day, listening to their woes of life, answering them. An IS aspirant youth, that means he was going to appear for the UPSC. He came up to Swami Maharaj and asked him the basic and the fundamental question regarding life. He said, Swamiji, if at the end of life, death is certain, what is the purpose of human life? And if that purpose is fully fulfilled, does that guarantee absolute happiness in life? Swami Maharaj, out of his nectar experience, out of all the wisdom of the scriptures, answered very spontaneously. The first thing Swami said, yes, you are right, that at the end of life, death is certain for every existence upon this earth. We are all mortals. But the basic purpose of human life is first to discharge your worldly duties responsibly and faithfully. Point number 1, first rule of happiness. To discharge your worldly duties, आपकी सांसारिक जवाबदारियां, जो भी आपकी जिम्मेदारी है, वो आप अच्छी तरह से निभाएं, responsibly and faithfully. You are students, most of you. Just raise your hands if you are a student. Almost like 100%. At this moment in life, if you want happiness, you should 24/7, 365 think of better academics in your life. You should think of achieving a couple of wonderful professional degrees in your life. That could make your life. That could stabilize you in future. And that could become a real pillar support for you in the odd times of your life. Happiness at this stage in your life is you concentrate on your studies, get good results, and get a couple of wonderful degrees. If you decide, you can. Many of you sitting here must be scoring 80, 90%, 95%. Many of you must be in the 60, 65 range. Many of you probably will be in the 50, 55 range because you think and you are very much concerned about the IPL or Bollywood. So you are in the 50, 55 range. You know, sometimes there is a joke. If you score 90, 95% in your HSC exams, you enter engineering or medicine and you become an engineer or a doctor. If you score 15% less, you are in the 75 range, you go in the commerce field Become a commerce or a management graduate, start a company and hire doctors and engineers of the 90% range. I knew you would clap for this because you are in that range. If you score still 15% less, if you are in the 60% range, you go in public life and decide the policies for the first two. And if you score still 15% less, you are in the 45-50% range, you go in the underworld and control the first three. Lighter moments apart, coming to a serious note, what I mean to say is a good academic qualification, because this chance in life won't come again. To go to school, to go to college, perform the best at your academics is a once in a lifetime chance. Don't miss out on that. It will become the sense of happiness lifetime that you achieved when you were supposed to achieve. And today at a young age, when you are 15, 16, 18, 20, 21, you have the best and the fullest of energy. Why not to utilize it to the optimum for the best present day work that you are doing, that is your academics. You must endeavor for it. If you decide, you can. Once upon a time, in a very small village in the southern state of Tamil Nadu, in a very rural village, somebody, an astrologer, came in and he would ask people to come up with horoscopes so that he can forecast their future. So a young mother, she must be about like 28, 30, and she took her 5-year little boy, because always she had an aspiration from within. She used to pray for it, that I want my little boy to have the best of academics. I want to see him a very good doctor or an engineer, a very good professor. She very hurriedly took the little boy to the astrologer and said, sir, can you forecast for my little boy? And the astrologer might have seen the palm of the little boy and said, sorry ma'am, but he doesn't have the right kind of horoscope for a good education or an academics. And the lady was heartbroken. She felt that, oh my God, this was always my dream. He is my only child. I wanted to see him a big academically qualified professional. This happened. She started crying, lifted the little boy in her arms and started walking back home. While she was crying a lot at home, the little boy asked, Mom, why are you crying? And she said, my little boy, I always had this dream in my mind, but now that your horoscope doesn't contain any good forecast of your good academics, I'm very much disheartened. The little boy asked her mother, okay, Mom, if somebody had some good horoscope about academics, where would that line lie? And probably that mother, after consulting with the horoscope guy, must have found out that this is the line where if at all somebody possesses, he has good academics. Little boy ran into the kitchen. He picked up the kitchen knife. And with the kitchen knife, he scratched his palm. And blood gushed out of his little palm. When his mother saw this, she screamed, what did you do? And the boy, as if he was realizing no pain, he said, Mom, perhaps God forgot to put this in my palm. Today, I did it. I study there. I go to Oxford. He studied there, got married, got scholarship. He went to Oxford. He studied there. He became a visiting faculty at Oxford and went on to become one of the famous presidents of India. I'm talking of Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan. So at whichever point in life if you decide, you can start a good journey of getting excellent academic qualifications. And when you have that, you will have the power to decide your life. First tell yourself, I'm not designed to stand in long queues of 150 people for one job placement. Microsoft and Google, they have to come to me to fetch me for a job. Tell yourself this every day in the morning. And it happens. It happens with IIT people, it happens with IIM people. IIM Ahmedabad is one of the top ranked B schools in the world. And I am a graduate. He has this power. He chooses the company. He decides his salary. Not after experience. Even the first salary he decides. You have the chance. Stage 1. And when you qualify well after your experiences, good academics, when you land a good job, a good pay, that is the start of your good happiness. Money matters. Infatuation towards money doesn't matter much in life, but money does matter. It is a part of happiness. Attachment, over-attachment, and infatuation is a big obstacle in all progresses of life. But for the fundamental happiness of life, money does matter. So strive, so work for it. Imagine if you have 100 crore, 1 crore, 1.5 crore, 2 crore job, 5 crore job. Won't it be a very good reason for your happiness in life? Tell me yes or no? Yes. It is. And when you go to work after your wonderful academics, the rule of happiness applies there as well. You have to strive and work hard. There is a proverb in the African jungles that every morning when the sun rises, the slowest deer has to run minimum faster than the fastest lion to see the evening. Otherwise, it would get hunted. And the slowest lion has to run minimum faster than the slowest deer to see the evening. Otherwise, he would die hungry. So the concluding message line is, whether you are the lion or the deer, when the sun rises, you have to run. आप कोई भी हैं, कुछ भी हैं, कहां भी हैं, सूर्योदय हुआ, दौड़ना तो पड़ेगा. You have to run. So hard work is a human endeavor, it is a human dignity. And in a young age, you must work 8-10 hours a day. Even in your vacations, you must read extracurricular 8-10 hours a day. Upgrade yourself. Make the optimum use of the time that you have. Back coming to the point when you are in job. Intense hard work. Bill Gates has written the book, Business at the Speed of Light, in which he says, the secret of my success. The chairman of Microsoft, now of course chairman emeritus, a self-made billionaire. Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation has more than about like $60 to $70 billion. He writes that the secret of my success is a culmination of 3 things. Determination, intense hard work, and acceptance of the ideas of others. So never fall back from hard work. Pramukh Swami Maharaj, who was the spiritual head of this organization for 45 years and the president, the administrative head of the BAPS for 65 years from 1950 to 2016, he grew this organization to this international level to a permanent seat in the United Nations as an NGO. He worked tirelessly. He put in intense effort for the upliftment of mankind in all walks of life. Imagine Pramukh Swami Maharaj till the age of 62, 65 and 68. We have seen him visiting hutments in Adivasi areas at 11 p.m. and 12 midnight, talking to them of the addiction, culturing them. People used to write to Pramukh Swami Maharaj letters regarding their personal issues, family issues, business issues, and Pramukh Swami would very happily answer them, guide them. Such 7.5 lakh letters read and answered in his lifetime. At an unbelievable average of reading and answering more than 70 letters a day without a Sunday for 45 years. Intense hard work. That is what you learn from the life of grace. That becomes a source of happiness. People used to come to Pramukh Swami Maharaj. Pramukh Swami Maharaj would give them personal audience. Such more than 2 million people personally met and guided them. Pramukh Swami Maharaj personally sanctified more than 3.5 lakh homes, offices, factories and shops. He built more than 1100 places for which the Guinness Book of World Records writes for him that he is the master builder of the 20th century. So intense hard work you learn from the lives of great. Work is happiness, work is worship. The college in which I studied, the motto of the college was work is worship. So when you look at work from that direction, and if you don't work hard in your young age, what will you do? Give me an option. If in your young age, if you don't decide to work hard, and actually if you don't, what will you do? You don't have any other option. So intense hard work and you bring results. More than 60 to 70 hospitals, hostels, schools and colleges Pramukh Swami Maharaj single-handedly erected, administered it well on charity basis. And lakhs of people from all walks of life, irrespective to caste, creed, color, religion, nationality, they benefited from it. But when you work, you must be ethical. You must remain wedded to disciplines, norms, ethics. If you don't remain wedded to disciplines, norms and ethics, all your happiness that you have achieved by good academics and intense hard work can become zero within minutes. Ethics has the power. So remain wedded to disciplines, norms and ethics in life. Love them, abide by them, respect them, and make it a fabric of your life. Slightest, minutest deviation from it, and there are chances that you pay heavily for it. Even if the name of your company is Satyam and you go for asatya practices, there are possibilities of you landing in jail. Even if you are the king of the skies, you have to leave India without an Indian passport. They say done is done, it cannot be undone even if you go to London, but it will be undone. Even if you are the Sahara of thousands of families and you have built thousands of homes for families, you can still lie a Sahara in TR for 4 years. Whoever you are, whatever you are, even if you are an electrical engineer working for 35 years and become the chairman of the Maharashtra Electricity Board, you don't have the right to put your finger inside the plug. As simple as that. Because electricity doesn't know your post, position and power. In the same way, ethics doesn't know your post, position and power. Chipka degi, mar jaoge. Ethics is like electricity. Pramukh Swami Maharaj, for 80 years, he lived public life, spotless character. He met millions of people, perfect ethical living. Once Pramukh Swami Maharaj was asked which thought remains with you 24/7. He said that the thought that has never entered my mind, shall I tell it first? And that was more interesting. If we were asked this question, which thought has never entered your mind? Can't recollect, can't catch it. Pramukh Swami Maharaj said the thought that has never entered my mind, shall I tell it first? And that was more interesting. Pramukh Swami Maharaj said the thought of hurting anybody, physically, mentally or emotionally, has never entered my mind. What an ethical living! Rules of happiness when it comes to workings. Of course, intense hard work, but at the same time, equally important, rather more important, ethical working. People who have worked ethically, they have progressed. They are known by it. They are revered. They set an example. They are a source of inspiration for the future generations. So wherever you work in future, these two qualities for happiness: intense hard work and ethical work. For no reason I can do anything wrong. I cannot do anything wrong. Tell yourself, everybody, every day, every time, I cannot do anything wrong. You have to reinforce with efforts this thinking in your life so as to remain stable lifetime and enjoy the fruits of your intense hard work, and prior to that, your well-achieved academic qualifications. When we are talking of this rule number 1 of happiness, is discharging all your worldly duties responsibly and faithfully. In which we talked about academics, we talked about work, now comes to your family. A good work-life balance is a source of happiness. You are not the work that you do, you are not the visiting card that you hold, you are not the car that you drive, you are not the apartment that you live in. Life is much beyond that. A proper work-life balance, spending quality and quantity time with your near and dear ones, whom you love and who love you, is the greatest joy upon this earth. You might love to hear a 30-second speech on YouTube. It was at the convocation day of BSCO, delivered by Brian Dyson, who was ex-world CEO of Coca-Cola. He just spoke for 30 seconds, in which this rule of happiness, when it comes to work-life balance, he says in life, actually you are juggling with 5 balls. You know, we have seen circus and the joker juggles with more than 4 or 5 balls. He says that the first ball is the ball of work, second is ball of family, third is ball of friends, fourth is ball of spirit, fifth is ball of health. He said after 30-40 years at your office, 30-40 years of your corporate life, you will come to know that the first ball, that is the ball of work, is made up of rubber, and the rest 4 balls are made up of glass. The first ball, that is the ball of rubber, ball of work, is made up of rubber. If you lose it, it falls on the floor, but it will bounce back because it is made up of rubber. So work opportunities are like bus stand. A bus comes every 3 minutes. Let's talk of the trains here in Mumbai. It comes. But the rest 4 balls, that is the ball of family, ball of friends, ball of health, ball of spirit, are made up of glass. If you lose it, it falls on the ground. It will break. If not break, it will crack. If not crack, it will not be the same again because it will be V-shaped. So finally puts, get to work on time, work effectively during your working hours, and get back to your family on time. We saw this in the life of Pramukh Swami Maharaj, that he balanced work and life, work and personal life, work and family life. BAPS saints and BAPS volunteers and devotees was his family. He could give ample amount of time to at least 1100 saints that we are. It is written in the scriptures that a saint can love like 1,000 mothers. Probably you might have heard or read it. We 1100 saints, we have experienced this in the presence of Pramukh Swami Maharaj, that he loved us like 1,000 mothers. We have experienced that in the presence of Mahan Swami Maharaj. So he balanced it well. So that becomes a source of happiness in your life. Serve your parents well, take care of your children time-wise, and imbibing values and virtues in their life, and most important, a sense of compromise, a sense of acceptance, and a sense of adjustment with your spouse. Principal source of happiness. Most important, a sense of compromise, a sense of adjustment, and a sense of acceptance with your spouse. Because there is where zone 6 of earthquake lies. And it could be high on Richter scale. Maybe 9, 9.5, maybe 10. Anytime eruptions. So you have to discharge your worldly duties very responsibly. You have to discharge them very faithfully. In 1991, the BAPS celebrated the cultural festival of India in America. We had the wonderful exhibition that would give messages of brotherhood, of acceptance, of adjustments, of compromises. Under the banner Beautiful Borderless World, where all the great messages prescribed to us by the great sages and seers and seekers of India was well put through dioramas, light and sound shows and everything. One of the spots was Shravan. He on his shoulders was carrying his parents for a pilgrimage. We had spot guides at all these places, and when a crowd of 5, 10, 15 people come together, the spot guide would explain everything. A group like about 10, 15 people came and our spot guide started narrating the whole story, in which was a 25-year-old woman, Miss Sylvia. She was the secretary of the Middlesex County College, in the premises of which we had celebrated this whole festival. When she heard the whole story, she was into tears. The sport guide requested, "Ma'am, can I help you?" She said, "Just leave me alone." She ran back to the parking lot, picked up her car, and straight away went to the old age home. Got into her parents' room and said, "Dad, Mom, from today, you are going to live with me in my house. I'm going to pick up your medicines, your clothes and everything. You just feel comfortable, get into the car. I will serve you lifetime like Shravan." And the parents were like, "What is this, Shravan? I'll take you." And she brought her parents to the festival site, to the exhibition hall. She asked the sport guide to narrate them the whole story. Her parents were into tears, and she said, "I will serve you lifetime." And for many years thereafter, she had her parents at her home and she served them lifetime. So such incidents, such stories, such great episodes from our ancient scriptures have the power to inspire us even today. So when it comes to family responsibilities, these are the three things: serving your parents well and making them happy, taking good care of your children by time and imbibing values in their life, and adjustments, acceptance and compromise with your spouse. That is discharging your worldly duties with all your responsibilities, with all your faithfulness. This was the first thing that Pramukh Swami Maharaj told that youth, the essence of living, the purpose of living. And thereby, serving this purpose fully, you achieve good happiness in life. Second thing Pramukh Swami Maharaj said, to live a pious life as prescribed in the scriptures. Sat शास्त्रों के अनुसार पवित्र जीवन जीना वो मनुष्य जीवन की फर्ज है. You live a pious life as prescribed in the scriptures. First comes the addiction. If you are addicted to any kind of tobacco chewing or any other type of addiction that is injurious to your health, you have invited all kinds of diseases by opening your doors to it. We have seen people who would smoke 50 cigars a day and nothing happens to him for 50 years. See. And on the other hand, we have seen people smoking just 5 cigars, 3 cigars a day and catches lung cancer or anything, oral cancer within 3-5 years and passes away. So there is a whole range of our blood system to react to this poisonous things. And you don't know in the whole range where you lie. So don't copy an old man who is residing here. So he's chewing 15 tobacco packets and like 50 cigars a day. Right old age of 85 enjoying. That can probably not be the story for you. Okay? Pramukh Swami Maharaj personally might have de-addicted thousands of people. He encouraged a force of saints, of volunteers to put in all the resources in our huge festivals. We had special camps for this, where thousands of people left aside their addictions. A cigar has fire in the front end, and in the rear end, a fool When it is clearly written on the packet, cigarette smoking is injurious to health, you are a fool when you smoke it. Now the American Senate has passed a bill where they say that you will have to write the word kill. So cigarette smoking can kill you. Still difficult to leave it aside. To live a pious life according to the scriptures is a source of happiness. Rule number 2 is this, as Pramukh Swami Maharaj prescribed according to his nectar experience and the wisdom of the scriptures. In the same way, according with these addictions, living a vegetarian life falls in rule number 2 of happiness. Don't ever tell yourself or try to convince yourself that all the strength lies in non-veg foods. The strongest animal in the world is elephant, and it is. The second strongest animal in the world is rhino, and it is simple. So never ever try to convince yourself. And when we are human beings sitting at the highest table of the animal kingdom, it is our humble duty to protect all the smaller existences. When you are powerful, it is your humble duty to protect smaller existences, and that is the right use of your power, ethical use of your power. We are human beings. We are the highest in the animal kingdom. We don't have the right to kill. Pramukh Swami Maharaj always used to put forward this argument that we never have the power, we should not have the willing to kill. If you kill and eat, you are not a human being. Then somebody from you would definitely argue. You would say, Swamiji, when we are vegetarian, definitely we are doing some type of killing. When we eat the fruits or the vegetables, we are killing the seeds. Isn't that an argument that your friends probably would be putting in front of you? Yes. Yes. You can tell. It's a logical argument that whenever, for any existence upon this earth, to survive, it has to kill. Even if when you breathe, you are killing some bacteria, killing some organisms in the air. Does that mean that you stop breathing? So for living, for sustenance, you have to kill. It is the rule of the land. It is nature's creation. But you have to start killing from the smaller level, from the smaller existences. And mind that. The point at which you can stop killing and survive is the point that you should stop, that makes you a human. Otherwise, there is no difference between you and an animal. You have to stop. So you start with the vegetarian kingdom, the point at which you can stop and survive healthily. Well within the vegetarian system, you are a human being. Not go for taste. Pramukh Swami Maharaj always used to argue when it comes to vegetarianism that as human being, you must have the emotions for the smaller existence. And I just give you an imagination. Imagine there is a superhuman race existing somewhere in the planet or somewhere in the universe. And they would, without any reason, scoop down upon your house when you are watching TV with your family, your small kids sitting with you, put their hands inside the window or the door, and they would pick up both your children, and right in front of you, they would start eating like a brinjal. Stunned silence. Imagination will give you tremors, fears. Right or wrong? For any animal, for any existence, their parents is not meat, their parents. For any animals, their children are not meat, their children. So Pramukh Swami used to say this, the second line, the second rule of happiness as Pramukh Swami Maharaj described to this IS aspirant youth, to live a pious life according to the prescriptions of our great scriptures is definitely a source of happiness, which is much needed. So live a pious life. It is a human endeavor, it is a human dignity, and it is a good rule of happiness. Third thing Pramukh Swami Maharaj said out of his nectar experience and all the wisdom of the scriptures. He said, to be of a helpful nature, to serve a cause which is close to your heart, a social cause, that is selfless service to society, is a big source of happiness. Rule number 3, whatever you have, small part of it, not just in terms of money, in terms of energy, in terms of ideas, in terms of resources, whatever you have, give something back to planet Earth. A clear concept now taught by the great management gurus like Jim Collins, Augmentino, Ken Blanchard, Anthony Robbins, Robin Smith. They teach top-class Fortune 500 executives that you should be clear with the concept that you must try, if not fully, but try to give back to Earth more before you pass away than what you got from Earth. Selfless social service. Pramukh Swami Maharaj's life of 95 years is an emblem of selfless social service. He worked tirelessly day and night for the upliftment of mankind in all walks of life. Service, service, service. 24/7, 365, 95. Did you get it what I said? You have 24/7 shops which are open whole day and night, 24 hours of 7 days, 365 days. And 95 years of Pramukh Swami Maharaj's life, 24/7 by 365 by 95. Absolute selfless service for the society. Under his able guidance, under the divine inspiration of Pramukh Swami Maharaj, whose centenary celebrations we are celebrating, since last 3 years, another 2 years to go, his divine inspiration brought up 162 different kinds of activities in the social, cultural, moral, educational, medical, environmental, religious and spiritual fields for the benefit of mankind, irrespective of caste, creed, color, religion, nationality. He always took himself as a humble sevak, as a humble servant of God, servant of society, servant of the people. He never felt that I am the president of the BAPS. He never felt that I am the spiritual head of the organization. An incident reminds me. In 1995, we celebrated the Amrit Mahotsav, the 75th birthday of Pramukh Swami Maharaj here in Mumbai. It was a month-long festival. And on 29th November, 1995 was the actual day of his Amrit Mahotsav. In the morning when he came for his puja, his whole car was well decorated out of devotion by devotees. And the car stopped near the stage. And Pramukh Swami Maharaj, in the midst of thousands of devotees, all giving him a standing ovation, clapping for him because it was his 75th birthday, Amrit Mahotsav. He got out of the car and the elder saints around him, Pujya Narayana Swami was there. They all touched the feet of Pramukh Swami Maharaj for blessings in the morning. And when everybody were engaged in touching his feet and having blessings from him, Pramukh Swami Maharaj himself closed the door of the car. At that time, Pujya Narayana Swami said that, Swamiji, today is the day that people have come to felicitate you. Today is the day that you command all respects and love from people. आज तो आपको सेवा अंगीकार करने का अधिकार है. And Pramukh Swami Maharaj's basic thinking, his basic attitude towards life, the divinity in his life, it sprouted out. In the most humble words, he said, today is the day where we are supposed to become sevaks, servants. On your birthday, on your 75th birthday, when thousands of people have come to felicitate you, to shower love and respect on you, at that time you have the basic thinking in the morning, and that in the midst of it, you are not sitting in the room. We start getting thoughts of our birthday 1 week prior to it. Today is 17th of August. 22nd is my birthday. Tomorrow is 18th, oh, still 4 days to go. 19th August, oh my God, still 3 days. The last 72 hours are painful because you want it to go quickly, pass off quickly. And you are very enthusiastic in the morning at 8 a.m. How many messages? And that is why we learn from the life of such great personalities. Humble man, absolutely humble. Adhyatmanand Swami described Pramukh Swami Maharaj as a very humble personality in 1985 probably at our festival. A very humble personality. So Pramukh Swami Maharaj was such a personality that he always thought of himself as a humble sevak. He never expected anything in life from people in terms of love or respect. He always thought, what is my humble duty when it comes to services? What is my humble duty when it comes to selfless services was the only thought that Pramukh Swami Maharaj lived with. And I tell you, it is scientific. How is service related to happiness? Seva और सुख के बीच संबंध क्या है? Top scientific researches, clinical researches, experimentation proves, and survey results, they have come to say that when you selflessly serve, you distress yourself. Now I am talking scientific and logic. When you selflessly serve, you distress yourself. All the tensions, all the agony, all the distress, all the frustrations, all the depressions, you can come out of it by humble, selfless service. So many doctors in America, they have started prescribing officially 2 hours of selfless service a week as a remedy to ailments, physical ailments. Dr. Bernie Siegel has written the book, Love, Peace and Healing. He has described this theory. So when you selflessly serve with no motives, a light heart, a clear heart, they say that it produces hormones in your blood system. Hormones like cortisol, which bring stress, are reduced. Hormones like epinephrine. Epinephrine is produced in your bloodstream. It decreases the stress when you selflessly serve or you selflessly pray to God. Both these actions can create stress-releasing hormones from your glands, get released into the blood system, and you feel light, you feel happy, you feel distressed. So selfless service and people who live with selfless services are on the golden page of history. You read 500 books of history. Right from the time mankind started the idea of recording history till today, there are only a few pages of people who earned billions. More pages of people who earned but selflessly gave. Still more pages of people who did not earn monetarily but put in all their resources, which is biggest resources, time and energy, selflessly for the people. These are 3 categories in history. Maximum number of pages of history is filled with people's stories who gave the biggest asset of their life, that is time and energy, selflessly for the society. And at the age of 80 or 90 when you die, you must be able to keep your hand on your chest and tell yourself, yes, I live. If you can't do that, see, choice is yours. But make a good choice, that you stand a good chance for a great change in life. 3 C's of life. For them, for their children, for their stomach, even the animals live their life. We must selflessly live. In 1992, when we were celebrating the Yogiji Maharaj Shatabdi Mahotsav and the inauguration of Gandhinagar Akshardham, it was a 34-day festival. And in the evening Sabha, we had the people who had some achievements in different walks of life, in different fields. We used to felicitate them. When the whole list Pramukh Swami Maharaj read before the start of the festival of people who were going to be felicitated by the organization, Pramukh Swami Maharaj himself included the name of Dr. Doshi of Anand. He was an eye surgeon But at one point of time in life, he decided to selflessly serve. And he did 3 lakh cataract operations absolutely free. Pramukh Swami Maharaj knew this. So Pramukh Swami Maharaj got his name included in the list. And Dr. Doshi, very humble man, he would wear very simple clothes. Even when he came on the main stage of this Akshardham inauguration, that is Yogiji Maharaj Shatabdi Mahotsav festival, Pramukh Swami Maharaj, our elder saints, Sadguru saints sitting, his announcements were made, his profile read out. He was wearing a simple salwar that was not ironed. He was very simple slippers. But he gained the place in the hearts of thousands of devotees and well-wishers sitting in the assembly. And today we want to clap for him. Why? People who have selflessly given them for the society are the people who have always been made by people to sit on their shoulders and reside in their hearts. Pramukh Swami Maharaj has been the recipient of tens of keys to the cities in America. He was felicitated in the British Parliament. He was felicitated in the Canadian Parliament. He was felicitated in the Kenyan Parliament. Pramukh Swami Maharaj's name appears for 5 to 6 times in the Guinness Book of World Records. Imagine a 5th standard pass person wearing saffron, not knowing a single word of English to talk, can't understand a sentence in English, and he could do so much for the society. But a pure heart has the power to attract all kinds of resources, be it material resources, be it money resources, be it man resources. If your heart is pure, it works as a magnet. People and resources have to come to you. You don't have to go to find resources in society. As simple as that. So we have graduate saints, postgraduate saints, chartered accountant saints, engineer saints, doctor saints, Harvard graduate saints who walk into saffron just to please Pramukh Swami Maharaj. You will attract all resources. So this is the third rule of happiness that Pramukh Swami Maharaj prescribed. That we must devote ourselves selflessly in terms of money, in terms of time, in terms of any other resource that we have, in some cause that is close to our heart, selflessly for the society, that can definitely benefit you physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. The fourth rule of happiness, the last rule of happiness that Pramukh Swami Maharaj prescribed. He said that the fourth purpose of life is that you should have profound devotion towards God. The ninefold devotion that is described in the Srimad Bhagavad, and the clear understanding about faith in existence of God and the all-doership of God. When you are attached with God, I would tell you, more than 50,000 research papers have been published in national international seminars where men of science, not just men of philosophy, not just men who have worn saffron, but men of science have researched, have experimented, have surveyed that your some connection with God by chanting the holy name or prayers or meditation or darshan can have a positive impact on you physically, mentally, and emotionally. Recently, University of Columbia, they did a survey in more than 1 lakh families in more than 110 countries across 5 continents. The survey went on for 8 to 10 years. And the principal question in the survey was, now listen very carefully. The principal point of survey was, what benefit a believer family has over a non-believer family. If a believer family is doing some kinds of rites and rituals every day, individually or collectively as a family, what advantage the family has over a non-believer family where in the household nobody individually or collectively is doing any kind of religious activities. They prepared the report. The conclusion was, First, in the believer family, the level of acceptance and tolerance, स्वीकार और सहन करने की वृत्ति, in the family members was found to be much better than the level of acceptance and tolerance in the non-believer family. Isn't this a big advantage in life for happiness? Yes or no? Yes. Give me a bigger one. Yes. Level of acceptance and level of tolerance goes higher if you are attached with God individually or collectively at your work, at your home. If the whole family is involved together, nothing like that. Second advantage, they found that the overall health, I'm talking today of just the physical health, the overall physical health of the members of the believer family doing some religious rites and rituals every day, again individually or collectively, was found to be much better than the overall physical health of the members of the non-believer family. Isn't this a big advantage and a source of happiness? Yes. Third, the children of the believer family were found to be scoring academically well than the children of the non-believer family. Isn't this again a source of happiness? Yes. They listed out many. I just gave you 3. Rest you can go on Google and find it out, a small homework after this class session. If by believing in God, performing some rites and rituals, if your level of acceptance, level of tolerance among family members, if your health, if the academics of the children in your family, if they can improve, is it not an advantage to believe in God? Does it involve any kind of giving? Nothing. People have proved that by chanting the holy name of God, I'm not going deep into the researches because that particular subject is a bit out of the mainstream that we are talking today. But chanting the holy name of God can increase your memory power, can increase your willpower, can increase your confidence level, can increase your buffer capacity. Buffer capacity मतलब दुख सहन करने की शक्ति. Buffer capacity and the strength of your immune system, रोग प्रतिकारक शक्ति. All this 5 can be improved by chanting the holy name, experimentally proved. So today more and more of science is leaning towards spirituality. So Pramukh Swami Maharaj was right when he gave this answer that your attachment with God through devotion can become a source of happiness. It is rule number 4. And when it comes to understanding, if somebody tells you, give us a one-line definition of faith in God. Difficult, isn't it? One-line definition. Because there are books and volumes written on it. मैं आपको बताऊं, एक वाक्य में भगवान में श्रद्धा, the definition in one line. Now listen very carefully. Whatever has happened in my life so far, whatever is happening today, and whatever will happen in future, happens with the wish of God, happens for my good, and if I keep that attitude, it will work for my positivity and all my progress in life. One line definition of faith in God. Then you will be taken care by God like you take care of a flower in your hand in the morning. Attachment with God is not just devotion. Devotion plays a very important role as we described. But at the same time, the doership of God. One line definition of faith is accepting all doership of God. 100% acceptance. Most difficult part of the spiritual journey. But yet, it is the ultimate source of happiness. Any reverses, he does it. Any falls, he did it. Any setbacks, he is the doer. Any failure, okay, let him do it. It brings you luck. Pramukh Swami Maharaj's biggest strength in life. Pramukh Swami Maharaj की सबसे बड़ी ताकत क्या थी? He believed to the core of his blood that Bhagwan Swaminarayan is the all-doer. Whatever will happen in my life, whatever is happening, whatever has happened, Bhagwan Swaminarayan has done it, my Guru Yogi Ji Maharaj has done it, and I am happy with it. I accept it. Something that I don't understand, but well, it was done by them, and so this is what the type of teaching that he used to give to us. That even if you don't understand, Basic problem with life is, why this happened with me? I tried my best, I put in all my efforts, I had all my resources into play, I had the best of connections, I worked hard. Result has to come. That brings stress during daytime and a sleeping pill at night. But from the life of such great personalities we come to know. Pramukh Swami Maharaj was once in Vallabh Vidyanagar. One of our well-wishers of the organization, Mr. Nattubai Patel, he was the general manager of the Alicon Engineering Company. Many times he used to come to Pramukh Swami Maharaj for his darshan. A very good gentleman. He once openly confessed to Pramukh Swami Maharaj, Swamiji, let me tell you one thing that is in my heart since many times. I have seen you in all the activities of the day. Nattubai tells Pramukh Swami Maharaj that I have seen you in all the activities of the day. I have seen you in your morning walk. I have seen you doing your morning puja, offering your devotion to God. I have seen you writing letters. I have seen you talking on phone with some devotee. I have seen you guiding some people, personally meeting. I have seen you sitting in an administrative meeting for planning, for discussions. But I have never seen a single wrinkle of workload, of tension, of agony, of depression, of anger ever on your face. And we have the reverse of it. How come, Swamiji? And then he confessed, Swamiji, I am the general manager of this Alicon Engineering Company. I am not the owner. I don't own all the responsibilities. Evening 6 o'clock, I am fine. I am free. I can go back to my home. But let me tell you, Swamiji, that if I don't drink a couple of sips at night, I can't go to bed. Sips of buttermilk. Pramukh Swami Maharaj, he asked, how can you? And Pramukh Swami Maharaj said, see Nattubai. Now listen very carefully. Pramukh Swami Maharaj said that in the morning, when we wake up, we pray to God and with folded hands ask Him, what is my job, my service today? And whatever the list of work that He inspires me, I start executing it to the best of my knowledge and my resources. By evening time, I pray to God in my evening prayers and give it back at the feet of my God and Guru, that I tried all to the best of my knowledge and resources to bring the best results of the work that you inspired me in the morning. Now, whatever results you want to shower upon me, I accept it full-heartedly. I don't have a choice of results. I tried my best. Now results is in your hands. I'll accept it. That is what Karmanyavadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. Lord Krishna tells Arjuna. He tells your job is to perform your duty well. Results, I will decide. That basic understanding is the source of all happiness. And lastly, Pramukh Swami Maharaj said in his traditional Gujarati, Potana Atma nu kalyan karu. Hamare Atma ka kalyan karna. The salvation of your soul. It comes through devotion towards God. So these are the 5 rules that Pramukh Swami Maharaj prescribed when that IAS aspirant youth asked Pramukh Swami Maharaj. Again the question was, what is the purpose of life? And if the real purpose of life is fulfilled to the extreme length and the real sense of the meaning, what kind of happiness can be derived from it? So Pramukh Swami Maharaj prescribed out of his nectar experience and all the wisdom of the scriptures, first, to discharge all your duties responsibly and faithfully. Now you have to repeat with me word by word. To discharge our duties, the worldly duties, with all responsibility, and absolute faithfulness. Rule number 2. To lead a pious life as prescribed in our scriptures. Rule number 3. To selflessly help people and society with a cause that is close to our heart. Rule number 4. Have profound devotion towards God. And rule number 5. Work for the salvation of one's soul. These are the 5 rules of happiness. And you know one wonderful thing about happiness? Happiness is the only math upon this earth, only mathematics upon this earth, that more you divide, the more it multiplies. Now think on it when you go back home. Happiness is only one mathematics upon this earth, that more you divide, more it multiplies. So more you divide, may you divide more. All my prayers at the humble feet of Bhagwan Swami Narayan, Guru Hari Pramukh Swami Maharaj, and Pragat Guru Hari Mahan Swami Maharaj, that they inspire us, shower their divine blessings on all of us, that we can strongly abide by all the 5 rules of happiness that he has prescribed. Thank you very much, and Jai Swami. And it is a human dignity as well. In this 78-year game of life that we have, to achieve by striving all kinds of happiness in life, in all walks of life, whichever field of work you choose, should be a human endeavor. But basically, before trying to understand the rules of happiness, some concepts in minds are to be clear. Normally the concept of happiness is materialism. We gain something physical. We obtain something materialistic. And that is the basic concept in our mind, that I am happy now. Somebody has rightly described the state of affairs of the 21st century man when it comes to materialistic possessions and direct linking of it to happiness. If I get these 5 things in life, a combination of these 5 things, that is absolute happiness in life. American salary,